What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? Say it with me, DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Let me entertain you. Are you not entertained? Make your next thing a big one. Speaking of things and, entertainment, if you will, I'm about to talk to Lamar and Joe and Lamar of the Perfect Turd Podcast. What is that? Well, you're going to find out more about Lamar and Joe. Stick around. Do that. This week's shows, as we break out of coronavirus quarantine, I have one public show on Friday nights. My faithful people at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. R-A-B. That's bar spelled backwards. It's a dry county. That's the only way they can get away with saying bar in a dry county. So when you drive by, you're going to see the word bar in your rear view mirror because they backwards the B and they backwards the R. See? They're smart. They're smart over there. But another way they got away with it is they said, oh, that's our motto, relax and be. That's how you get away with saying bar in a dry county. They got the alcoholics to prove it. They got a full bar, and the kitchen is open. They got pool tables. In fact, if you want to try to make some money, try your hand playing that pool. They have a pool tournament on Friday nights at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. The pool tournament, I believe it starts at 7 p.m., if I'm not mistaken. The karaoke starts 7:30 until 10:30. We have shortened hours. People have to be on the other side of the door by 11 p.m. because, as you know, coronavirus, COVID-19, only comes out after 11 p.m. Is that political? Is it scientific? I don't know. We're wearing our masks. We're taking care of each other as we try to break out of the house, and get out and go out and play. So come and join me on Friday night at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Video dance party karaoke jam. I use the word dance loosely. We're not allowed to dance on the dance floor, but we're allowed to dance in our chairs, and you can dance in your head. And I'm going to be playing that good music between karaoke singers. Yes, that's the place to be Friday night. The Rab, Conway, Arkansas. Okay, that is enough intro. Let's get into it with Lamar and Joe of the Perfect Turd. That name just makes me laugh. And you're going to know, it's a good, we're going to have some fun. Let's get into it with Lamar and Joe and Lamar. Now, I got them on Skype. So if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, I encourage you to check out the video version. That's at youtube.com/user/Keys Dan. Or just look up Keys Dan on YouTube, and you'll find the Radio What logo next to one of my YouTube pages. And that's the one that I've been saving for podcasts primarily. All right, let's get into it with Lamar and Joe. Skyping Lamar and Joe now.
Guys now. Here he comes.
Here he comes.
And then Joe left.
Why did Joe go? I had Joe, and I didn't see Lamar. And now, okay, wait, I got to merge. Hey, is there a merge? I think I hit the merge button. All right. Now on my broadcast software, the person who talks will be the one that shows up in the window. So when you're talking, It'll keep going back and forth on the little broadcast window. Kind of cool. Well, all right. I have Lamar and Joe, and it's always like that. It says whenever I look at the two men, it says Joe, Lamar and Joe. It's always billed as Lamar and Joe. Let's start there. Hi, I'm Keys Dan. What Makes You Famous podcast. Why is it always Lamar and Joe? Why not Joe and Lamar? Let me start some trouble right there. Stir it up.
I have no idea.
It has a ring to it.
Lamar and Joe, or Joe. I don't know which one has a better ring. Joe and Lamar. It's alphabetical if it's Joe and Lamar.
I I think it has a better ring with
Lamar and Joe.
Lamar and Joe. Joe and Lamar.
We started the podcast. We were in a car, so to the viewers, Lamar was always on their left. So I'll rationalize it that way.
Okay,
there you go.
We're here discussing the two fellas on the Perfect Turd Podcast, and I love the name of that. I'm a fan of B movies. I'm a fan of movies that did not quite make the mark. They didn't get to the Emmys or the Oscars, I guess is what the movies that didn't quite make it. And I know that you have your. When I'm listening to your show, you have your list of B-movie actors, new and old, that have been around, and maybe they were on top one time, and now they're started at the top, and now they're here. So
yeah.
Give the people a little idea. Now I know I've been rambling a little bit. Lamar and Joe, and I guess since it is billed that way always. Lamar, you start, and you give the people an idea of who you are, and then Joe, you'll give the people an idea of who you are, and then Lamar and Joe, you give the people an idea of what the Perfect Turd Podcast is.
All right, thank you for that awesome intro. So I'm Lamar. I've been in video production heavily ever since I was in high school. Really, it was my passion after really seeing Blade. After that movie, I just really was into like the behind the scenes. I went to Ball State. I had a job at Remington College. I'm doing some video editing now for Orlando Police Department and doing some stuff for them. And that's a little bit about me.
Well, for geography's sake, Lamar, give the people an idea of where those schools are. You said DeVry. Is that the online school? Because tell me.
It's Ball State. It's Muncie, Indiana.
Did you actually physically have to go to Muncie, Indiana?
Oh, yes. I am actually from Virginia, and then my family moved to Indiana, and then Ball State offered a big, pretty much telecommunications video production school, so I went there. Yeah.
All right. Well, telling me that your high school days or when Blade came out tells me that you're a much younger man than me. I was one of the audio-visual nerds back in 1986 and before that when I was in school, a young lad, and that always consisted of the best days in English class or geography or history class was when that TV was rolled in with the VCR. Oh, the kids said, "Oh, it's going to be a great day. Lamar is pushing in that VCR." What's a VCR, Grandpa? I guess it's a DVD at that point. What did the audio visual consist of when you were pushing in that equipment in those days?
Well, we still had a VCR. Actually, I think I was in going to middle school when Blade came out.
Okay.
But I will say this, we were still in the VCR age, and I remember we had, I think it was called Apex, when like a DVD player cost like $100, and we thought it was the coolest thing ever. So we were still on VHS in high school, but yeah, DVD was just like making its splash in the industry and everything. So,
you're reminding me of the first DVD player that I bought. I think it was 84, 85, somewhere around there, and it was like $600. And I'm going, hey, it's a DVD player, and it's got one laser, and the laser is what plays the songs. That's what it is. Oh my goodness. Well, Joe, to bring you in, man, I was perusing your Facebook page, and and then for people that are listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version of this because you have a very visual background. There's like music stuff back there. Are you a music guy, Joe? Tell the people who you are.
A little bit. I've been playing guitar for 20-something years now. And I just started off in a band and everything. And then along the way, I realized that was no good. I started composing music for TV shows and commercials and stuff like that. And then, started getting into like short films and stuff. And that's how I met Lamar. We met in a film group.
Well, we got Lamar going from Virginia to Indiana to Orlando, Florida. What's your journey growing up?
I was born in Brazil, grew up a little bit in Brooklyn, New York, and then came down to Florida. With our family moved to Florida, and that's pretty much that.
So you ended up in the Orlando area?
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, I lived in Winter Park in '94, way back when. Yeah, that was a fun time. It's like 20 pounds of poop in a 10-pound bag. There is so much to do in the Orlando area. My goodness, and it's a tourist town. There's so many people to see, so many flavors, And then, I'm born and raised in Miami, South Florida, the Florida Keys. I lived there with my brother for about a year, and it was always hot in the summer, cold in the winter. But there was always something to do. And then I moved to Central Arkansas, and the melting pot isn't really that melted here, And I know a lot of people listen here in Arkansas, but I remember seeing a lot of diversity and a lot of different types of people. But you already mentioned that you do movies you do music for movies. Is that how you got into the B movies? And you say you and Lamar. How was Lamar? How were you involved in the movie? And then Joe, I'm guessing music. You can say how you were involved in the movie and what year was that project and what was the project? Did it come out?
Man, how much have we done, man?
Well, give me that first one. That one where you met and what year?
What was it called? Joe, my mind is slipping.
The first actual film I think we worked on was called Donnie's Conspiracy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so that was about 3 years ago?
Yes, it was. 3 years ago, we were shooting that in a gas station.
What?
Yeah.
There in Orlando?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So the Orlando movie business was booming back 3 years ago. I guess there is some kind of a movie thing. Was it, for me, the layman, I think that everything in Orlando is Disney related. But was this a Disney thing or was it independent?
It was an independent. It's a short film.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Who was the directors? Who were the stars? Were there people who were the people involved? Give shout outs to the people that gave you your start in friendship. What's that?
Florida Film Producers was the name of the group.
Yes.
I can't even remember. Producer was Wilfredo Acaron.
Yes.
I don't remember the director. Kevin Long or Land or something.
His first name was Kevin. I know that.
Kevin Land.
Yes.
No, it's good to give credit. Give credit where credit is due because it seems like you taking a roundabout from Brazil to Brooklyn to Orlando, and then Lamar taking from Virginia to Indiana to Orlando. You could have not ever met each other if not for this fateful time 3 years ago when you're working on this independent film. And was it something that came out wide? Was it a full feature length? And what is the difference? What is a full feature length film and what's a B movie to you? I know I'm throwing a lot of questions because I want a lot of answers. So Joe, you start. What is it all about? Tell me.
Yeah, well, that one was a short film. It was very short, actually, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Full feature film could be anywhere from I guess about 90 minutes would be an actual 60 to 90 minutes. Anything above that would be a real feature film. But
okay, no, I'm saying I was kind of chuckling a little bit. What is the difference between a real feature film and a short feature film? I guess.
Just length, I guess. You have to compress it all down to 20 minutes for a short or whatever. So yeah, it wasn't really I don't even know if it got released, actually. I think there was some drama there, but I don't think it got released.
How sad that you take your time to put something together. And I know, you're talking about another Kevin that came to mind. Kevin Smith made a whole movie for Prince. And as soon as, it took days to put this movie together, and it was something that Prince commissioned, and he said, hey, I want Kevin Smith to direct a movie for me. Oh, okay. And then Kevin Smith, telling on his podcast, when is this going to come out? And he said, no, never. Kind of put it up on a shelf, and I don't think it's ever come out. or will it ever come out? That is sad to me. You've gone through the trouble to make this thing. You put the music in. Lamar, what were you inputting into this particular project?
I was also an associate producer on it, just really helping out Wilfredo with anything that he needed, kind of overseeing some things. And it just kind of sucks that it never got out there because we were happy with it. But then I think, what was it, like, it was going to be re-edited and things of that nature. But I think after that movie, in that group, we kind of found a camaraderie between each other. So we did work on other things, that did go to festivals. But, it was one for the breaks, I'll say.
Well, it's nice, man. It's nice that this became a jumping off point to other projects. I mean, with YouTube out there, with Vimeo out there, people could put out their own particular projects for free. And maybe they won't make a lot of money, a lot of return on the investment, but they certainly could get more notoriety. You get hits. You get people that notice you. Hey, that guy made that thing. I want him to make a thing for me. I want her to do a thing for me. So, and I'm seeing that your podcast is on YouTube. Is it available on other things, on other formats,
Not at the moment, just YouTube right now.
Okay.
Since it's so visual right now, yeah.
Well, what I want you to do is I want you to put at least the audio version out on anchor.fm. And yeah, I'm going to plug them because I paid for hosting before, and I know that's the little commercial that I do in the beginning of the podcast. I paid for hosting before. Anchor.fm is free, and they'll put you everywhere. Okay, so at least you'll have the audio version. So what I'm telling people is you're listening to the audio version, go check out the video version as well on YouTube, but not while you're driving your car, So it makes it a little more universal. And that's free. That's free advice. But tell the people, Lamar and Joe, and Joe and Lamar, and Lamar and Joe, and Joe and Lamar. And I think I'm going to have a little struggle with, I guess it rings both ways, really. I mean, you're together on this one project. You're providing the music. You're associate producing. Both of you are producing, helping to produce, and it doesn't get out. How does that feel?
Honestly, like just working in the industry, you just kind of get used to all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So you just move on,
Well, was that the first project that either of you had worked on? That one that you worked together, or Lamar, had you started working on in the industry? How did you come up when you got out of college in Boston? I guess in Boston and Indiana. Sorry, Muncie, Indiana, and then when you got out of college, what did you start doing when you made your way to Orlando?
Oh boy. After being in the digital storytelling master's program, I worked for Best Buy, and I was trying to get work in Indiana. And then weirdly enough, I applied for this job at Remington College in Lake Mary. And I was like, I'm not going to get this. It's all the way in Florida. And I did get the job. So I moved all the way to Florida. And then unfortunately, that I got laid off from there. And so I was just working in between jobs and everything. And so I tried to do some work in between, video editing on the side and that kind of stuff. But I was always doing stuff with the group. Well, I took a break from the group, but then I came back. So my path was kind of one of ups and downs, I'll say.
Well, it's amazing how many people that are working in the industry, the audio-visual industry, wanting to break into movies. Best Buy, a television or something like that. It's a way. It makes you feel like you're part of the industry. Even working at a movie theater makes you feel like you're part of the industry as you're heading in that direction. And as a musician, Joe, you might be able to back me up. A lot of the musicians that I know that are, their day job is working at a music store, maybe like Guitar Center or one of the other music stores. Joe, as you're coming out of college, what did you do in Brooklyn? How did you get from Brazil to Brooklyn? Because Brazil, from what I understand, is wonderful. But I guess everybody moves to New York at some point. I think that's a big giant melting pot up there. But how did you get to Brooklyn?
Well, so my mom is Brazilian, so and she had a house there, so that's why I was born there. I wasn't there very long, just as a baby. and then we came back to Brooklyn because my dad and his family are all from Brooklyn, and that's where we lived actually. So I was there until childhood, and then we moved down here to Florida, and then after that I did work in a music store, of course, and it's you have to if you're a musician work in a music store. It was a mom and pop shop though, so it was really cool. And then, how I really broke into it, I responded to an advertisement that said they needed music for a new show. It was a show on a channel called G4 called Proving Ground with Bear Margera. They needed some rock music, and that's what I was doing at the time. And from there, I just snowballed into doing more and more, and that's how it is.
So, Joe, where did the band come from? Were you in the band up in Brooklyn?
That was down here in Central Florida. Yeah.
No kidding. Well, what was the name of the band, and what kind of music were you playing? Was it rock and roll?
It was like classic, I guess like power metal, like a Judas Priest type of Metallica type stuff. They were called Cerebus, and then some other stuff here and there, but that was the main band that I did for years and years and years. So
wow, my joke used to be, how come all the stuff that I used to listen to in the back of the bus is now classic rock? But actually, those bands came out, some like Metallica, after I was out of high school, and that's still classic rock. No, I'm old. I'm getting there. All right, movies, man, movies, and you guys are both involved in movies. What kind of projects did you get together on after that, and did any of them come out to where people in the world can see some of your work?
Well, for the movies that me and Lamar worked together on, the movies that there was one called Great Is Our Sin that came out and went to the Central Florida Film Festival. I know we have one called What's the Matter, Skeeter Jones, which is also out on YouTube somewhere into the world, and there's a bunch in the work. The pandemic shut down a lot of the stuff that we did together. So,
well, I'm totally against this pandemic. I don't like it anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and say no to coronavirus, no to COVID-19. Just say no. But how did and were you both working together on these projects? Have you primarily since 3 years ago been working together, or have you kind of just met from time to time over that last 3 years?
I think it's just been on and off because, like, I know with Great Is Our Sin, I got laid off, so I had to take a break from that. It was a part of being an associate producer. But then I remember one time we had a project, and this is another failed project. Joe knows this one. It was when what was the name? It was a marriage movie.
I don't remember the name.
But he actually called me up because he was like, hey, we got this friend. We're supposed to shoot something for him. And I was like, oh, I forgot. I was the assistant. What was I? Assistant cameraman on there. I guess I was like doing Slate. So he was running audio on that one. And then What's the Matter, Skeeter Jones? I just had some time off. I was doing gripping. And so, yeah, I think, Joe, you were still doing sound on that one as well because Joe is an amazing sound guy. And then really we were, like Joe said, everything closed down with the pandemic because I know he was heavily involved with like really the behind the scenes stuff of like getting the feature that we want to get done. And then for me, it was just like, whenever you guys get things ready, I'm down for whatever. But then things just cut off like completely. So,
man, you're leading me to believe that when you work on an independent project, you just sometimes you don't even know your job title, but you just do the job that needs to get done. And
exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got to feel good, being how many people say on that first group, how many people were involved in putting that together, and then how many people were actually starring in the show, to give people an idea of all the people behind the scenes to help those one or two or three people that's in front of the camera.
Wow. I mean, even on a small production like that, it could be up to 20 people on set. Doing various tasks and stuff, cameras, lights, audio, grips, assistants, everything.
And the money's just rolling in, baby. You're in the movies. Yeah. Cash, make it rain, that kind of thing. I mean, where do you see your return on that investment? Because people need to have a roof over their heads. They got to have food on the plate. And people, okay, I do it for the love because I'm a creator and I like to create things. But it's nice to get a couple bucks. Doing something you love. You want to make it some kind of a career. So Lamar, let me put this one to you. I mean, are you able to make a living as a movie creator, or would you recommend, hey, at first get yourself a day job, something steady with some insurance to afford you the ability to get out on the weekends and do these things? What do you think, Lamar?
You took the words right out of my mouth, because here's the thing. Here in Orlando, I always say we have the talent, not the industry. If someone's trying to really break out, they would need to go to maybe a New York City or California. The only problem is that those places are in New York and California, very expensive. But I would say get a job first related to your field. And really, that's how we operate, is we do things on the weekends. We do as much pre-production as we can on the week. And then also, I would say get your team together as well. So I would say first off, starting out, get a day job and everything, but find those times, on the weekend to really shoot what you want, and really also network as well with other creators.
Man, I've heard for the stars, you need to rehearse. You need to have everything prepared before you get in front of that camera, because there is no time to be shooting 2, 3, 4, 5 takes. Because on an independent film, you got a certain set schedule, primarily because people have day jobs. Hey, my boss let me out at 5 o'clock. I got from 5 till 9 because I got to be in bed. I got 4 hours to get this scene done. And sometimes, man, that could take a long time, piece by piece, for a director and then ultimately the editor to put all that together. Joe, I mean, you've been working with the editors, I'm sure, with your music portion, because you'll watch scenes that are unfinished, and then you got to put music to them. I mean, what's the collaboration there and the timelines on some of these films?
Well, timeline is very short, and part of my day job is actually writing music for television shows and whatnot. So those are even more condensed. A lot of times people are like, they need it right away. It was very frustrating to have to work that fast. But yeah, I mean, I would love to have a locked picture from the editor where they're like, this is it. It's not going to get edited anymore after this. So I can really, get in there and write the music the way it should be done. But, edits change, and then you got to rewrite the music really fast, and it's all kinds of crazy. So, yeah.
Oh, well, Joe Pignato, for the people that don't know, what is a locked picture?
It's just when the editor and the director, they come to the edit and they say, this is it. We're not going to touch it anymore. The timing is set. We're not going to edit it anymore. It's locked. So. Okay.
All right, so that's the beginnings of you, the two of you together, how you formed, and then as time progressed, you were making movies. Which ones did come out, and which ones can we see, and where can we see them? Lamar, you take this one, I guess, since Joe just talked.
Well, Joe's probably going to have to help me out with this one, because I know What's the Matter, Skeeter Jones. That one is on YouTube, but it was also shared on Facebook, correct? As well.
On YouTube, and I think on Vimeo. It's on Vimeo. I don't have the address on the top of my head, but yeah, it's definitely on YouTube and Vimeo.
And then the other one, Great Is Our Sin, that one went to a festival, but is that on YouTube or anything like that at the moment? Or
I don't think it is right now.
Yeah.
I think it also is somewhere on Vimeo. I don't have the link to that either, but it did play at the Central Florida Film Festival and had a good reaction. So people enjoyed that one.
See, that is so nice, man. When you put something out to the world and people go, applause. That's beautiful, man. All right, so and I know that Katrina Tejedor is our mutual friend. She put this together. She put and I'm very excited about that. She is a wonderful promoter, but what is she doing for you guys?
Man, the crazy thing is I've known Katrina for a long time. I actually knew her through another group called North 17. That's a vegan group because she's vegan. So I met her, and then she was like, "Hey, I do cosplay marketing." And then later on down the line, when Joe and I were starting this podcast, I was like, "Hey, we need some help." She helped us out a little bit with marketing and giving us ideas, but then we've also collaborated with her with a movie review of Krish. That movie is nuts.
Well, spell Krish, because I'm looking all these up.
Oh man,
eventually.
Krrish. It is a Bollywood. It's basically The Matrix and Superman combined.
With Bollywood? Wait a minute.
With Bollywood.
That's fantastic, man. Every Bollywood show that I've ever done, that I've ever seen, it's always the guy with a very deep voice, and then the girl. It's so typical. That is like the broadest stroke, but I know there's a whole lot more to it. Bollywood is amazing, man. It's just so much color and flair, and every I DJ a lot, and I've DJ'd weddings in South Florida, Indian weddings, and they're so colorful and so bright and so energetic and such flow. I got to see this Krish movie. Were you involved in it, or was it something that you were reviewing, I guess?
It was something. Did she suggest it? I think it was.
Right. We were trying to find something where we can mix both of our niches, because she's into cosplay, we're into B movies, and we were like, let's think of a character that has a great costume or something. And she came up with the idea of Krish. Okay. And so we all watched it and reviewed it together. That's
fantastic. And are either of you cosplayers? I get involved with some of the Comic-Cons here in Central Arkansas. I think I did 2 down in South Florida when I was growing up. And when I say did, I dressed up a little bit, but mostly provided the music and the sound for the Comic-Cons themselves. But primarily I've been doing, I was doing about 4 a year since I moved up here to Arkansas. And that's where I met up with Katrina. And she was wonderful right off the bat. I think she had a Wonder Woman costume one day and then a Batgirl costume. Those are like her 2 primaries. But Lamar, are you a cosplayer, or Joe?
I am not a cosplayer. I have been to MegaCon, but I will say this. I'm a very lazy Halloween dresser-upper. Like, that's me. Like, I will put on a mask and be like, all right, that's it, but then I'll have a hoodie on. I think we have an episode. Yeah, we have an episode where we did Halloween, and I just went as Deadpool with the mask on, and that's it. Yeah.
And Joe?
Yeah. I am not a cosplayer. I do go to MegaCon because I like all that stuff, but Katrina did at one point challenge us to do some cosplay, so that will be more than likely a future episode of the Perfect Turd Podcast, us trying to do cosplay and trying to impress her. So we'll see.
Well, and we have to make the costumes too.
We're going to have to make our own costumes.
Hey, you're on my feed, so I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing that as well. When you're funny, Lamar, when you said you were a lazy costume maker, I was remembering a skit that Adam Sandler did around us on Saturday Night Live around Halloween, and he would go like, I'm crazy napkin guy. Hey, look at me. I'm a napkin guy. Yes. It was so funny, man. He would just pick up whatever item was said. I'm crazy mouse guy. Look, I got a mouse on my head. Why?
I remember that. Yep. Yes.
All right. So when did you decide that you wanted to start reviewing movies? Well, let me preface this. I had a friend named Rolando, and yes, I'm going to call him out, down in the Florida Keys. I guess we were in the fire department down there. I did that for about 10 years. But every time we'd have a night off or something, and I would say, hey, go to the Blockbuster and pick us up a movie. I mean, something like Terminator. Well, he'd come back with X-Terminator. What a piece of crap that was. And that's where my love really got solidified. Yes, I'd been watching B movies before that. The first R-rated movie that I saw, of course, I was way too young. My parents, for some reason, took us to the drive-in. My brother, probably 6 years old. Me, maybe 9 years old. Death Ship. It's about a Nazi ghost death ship. Nudity, gore, violence, bad. Not for a kid. But what started your love? Let's start with Joe on this one. Your love for B movies.
Oh, wow. I mean, my love for them, I think I just always remember watching that stuff. Like, my dad would let us watch pretty much anything. He would preview movies before he let us watch them when we were kids, and if it wasn't too excessive, he would let us watch them. So, I don't remember the exact movie, but I would always watch scary movies and B movies as a kid and just snowballed from there.
I mean, who's got time to preview movies? If mom and dad want to watch a movie and they got to drag the kids along, hey, guess what? The kids are going to watch this nasty, dirty movie. And maybe you'll cover an eye. No, don't watch that part. No, but I'm still listening to that part. No, Lamar, where was your first love of B movies or movies in general? Really, what's your favorite kind of movie?
Blade was the movie that did it for me, but I pretty much like a lot of gritty kind of realistic action, and also I will say blaxploitation kind of got me into B movies as well. I remember one time my Aunt Sharina, she actually showed me a movie called Spook That Sat Next to the Door that was totally independent, a total blaxploitation film. It's about this guy who basically is they hire him as a minority hire, a black man, to be part of the CIA, but then they give him basically a crappy job, and so he quits the job and then leads a revolution with the stuff that he learned from the CIA. So that was I will say my first B movie experience was seeing that movie, and then just over the years, it's I think you kind of hit it on the head right there. It's you see Terminator, then X-Terminator, and then you check out another movie, you're like, what is this? And yeah, it's just seeing crazy clips also from other movies where you're somebody thought of this and it's cheaply made, and that's what started my love of B movies.
Oh, so. For sure. And yes. I hate that you mentioned Blade as your start of B movies, because that was a wonderful movie. Now, maybe yes. Blade 2 and eventually Blade 3 started to, jump the shark, to quote things from my day. It was going downhill fast. That first Blade was amazing. Oh, my goodness. All the action. Wesley Snipes couldn't do any. Oh, wow. And then, Blade 2, the Blood God. What's going on here? What's happening?
Blade 2 had I like Blade 2. I will defend Blade 2.
Maybe it's the third one.
The evolved vampires with the opening of the mouth. Blade Trinity, no.
That's the one. Was that the Blood God? Because I know they start to melt together for me, and I think the main bad guy he had this. He became the Blood God, and you could not kill him. The sword went right through him, and he kind of back together.
Blade.
That was the third one.
That was the first one. Blade Trinity is when they brought back Dracula with the person that looks the least like a Dracula ever. I can't remember the actor's name, but it was just that. The whole movie was just bad. Yeah. So
man, and you're talking blaxploitation movies. Growing up, I was a kid of the '70s. I loved blaxploitation movies and any movies that came on television. I'd get to the cinemas. I noticed on your header on Facebook, you even had kung fu movies. You had, I think, Bruce Lee with Enter the Dragon. Now, that is not a B movie. I could watch that movie every day. But, one of my favorite of the movies, and I don't know if this can't be a B movie, Shaft, just was so freaking amazing. And my favorite line in that movie was when I think Shaft, the cop held up a black pen. He says, "You ain't so black." And then Shaft held up a white coffee cup and said, "You ain't so white."
Yes.
Oh, that line just stuck with me my whole life. Movie lines, things like that. Those will stick with you. Joe, what are the movie lines that come to mind right now when I say movie lines? And you remember those movies.
Yeah, wow. For me, anything from Arnold, anything, just from Running Man, just Stick Around, or stuff from Predator. If he bleeds, we can kill him. Stuff like that.
I ain't got time for pain.
All that. I ain't got time to bleed.
I ain't got time to bleed. That's right. Make you a sexual tyrannosaur, just like me. Oh my gosh, man! What a group! Bill Duke, Billy, and Jesse the Body. He was still the Body back then because he wasn't the governor of Minnesota.
Yeah.
But oh man, and see, now we're mentioning these movies that I don't think that they're B movies. Predator.
Well, those aren't B's, but those are the ones that just stick with me. You know?
Predator 2. Well, they started to, even though it had Danny Glover, and Maria Conchita was not in that one. She was not in that one. It was Espilda that was in the first one, the Spanish girl there. So they had to have a Spanish girl. You got to have diversity in these movies because that was the formula that worked with the first one, and now you got to do it with the second one. And Bill Paxton, of course, It's My Specialty. That was the second one. But what movies did you come together? Did you watch any of these B movies together over the last 3 years that kind of inspired you to do the podcast?
Oh God!
Go Lamar on that one. Lamar.
Man, oh man. The first one was suggested from Wilfred. Well, yeah. I guess the first one that kind of shocked us was Puma Man. That one was just like, wow. I had never heard of Puma Man, and the production was something to be talked about. The early green screen was not great. The costume design wasn't great. That's one that takes us back to like when we started the podcast. Puma Man was like one that was just like, whoa, wow.
Yeah, one of the first, and then we saw another.
Well, no, give me the synopsis of Puma Man. Was he a guy that turned into a puma? Just by titles alone, book by its cover. Hey, it's a guy that turns into a puma. Is that right?
Well,
you would think so.
You would think so.
That would be the much better movie, wouldn't it?
Man.
I mean, basically, they're looking for, I don't even know where to start, an alien kind of race that brings down the power of Aztec powers, and they're trying to find the guy that gets the power bestowed onto him. When he finally finds out, and he turns, but his costume is basically him in khaki pants and just a cape. He doesn't actually turn into a puma.
They didn't have a lot of budget for that costume design. I get it. But how was the story? Sometimes the story saves the film. Yeah?
Not so much.
So you don't think if somebody poured a bunch of money into that, they could make hey, Puma Man, extreme, good job, director's cut? No?
I think, Lamar, was it? It was an Italian-made film, and they were capitalizing on the time when the first Superman movie came out in the 70s, and they thought they could make something like that.
Well, don't fault those Italians because they gave Clint Eastwood a career. I mean, definitely, and I said it just like that because that's how you say it here in the South. They're my Italians.
Italian.
I'm half Cuban, half Irish, half Italian. That's three halves. I know I'm a big dude. But you go on with your experiences after Puma Man. What was the next film that you got together on? And are all these reviewed on your Perfect Turd podcast?
Absolutely, yeah. Puma Man was episode number 2. One of the good ones that we found early on that was surprising was Devil's Reign.
Yes.
Starring William Shatner.
That's the one where he's got like his face. He was like they were devil worshippers, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Saw that movie years ago. I thought it was great, man. I'm a Star Trek fan, so anything Bill Shatner's in, I'm going to give it half a chance. See, that's one thing. Yeah. Is if an actor that you love is in it, you're going to give it that much more chance. Like Benicio del Toro, if he's in a film, I'm going to watch this. Wesley Snipes, he's in the film, I'm going to watch this. There's so many different actors. If Arnold's in the film, I just saw a turd with oh my gosh, Die Hard. Bruce Willis. With Bruce Willis. He's, it came up on my Netflix. Hey, you might want to check this out. It's called like Homeland, maybe. And I was like, why? I just watched this whole thing. I'll never get that hour and a half back ever. But I still love it.
We get that feeling a lot.
I still love it.
Yes.
I mean, I know that there's a lot of podcasts out there, and even was it Mystery Science Theater 3000? I'm a fan of that. They had did they have Bloodsport on that? I think they had it on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van Damme, another one. If he's in a movie, I'm going to give it half a chance. That was his first English movie. He comes over from Brussels, and he's like a bouncer, and they go, hey, we need a karate guy, a big Russian guy. Why don't you play this? And it was, his lines in the movie, it is you, the son, is it not? And then Kurt McKinney's like, yeah, but this time it'll be different. Gah! No retreat, no surrender. What a great film. Surrender.
Yes.
What a great film. That one. But, I think about B movies that have affected me. And I even wrote an IMDb review on that one. And I hardly ever do that. Is that something that you've gotten into? Do you write reviews online of movies as well?
Here and there.
We'll do it a little bit. I mean, I know I've written a little bit in the trauma forums, just a little bit. So that's about it. And then they've been also very supportive, so they're awesome too. So
for those that don't know, what is the trauma form? I mean, I know the big ones. I guess the Swamp Thing. I guess that would be the biggest trauma film, or some of those crazy monster things. Toxic Avenger. That's the one. But
Class of Nukem High.
Yeah, Troma's been great. Like they're one of the true B movie, 40 years plus doing B movies, independent. We've done a lot of their films on the show, and we got to interview Lloyd Kaufman, who started Troma, and they've been great. Yeah.
I saw that. With the magic of internet, you don't have to be in the same room. We could do this for people from all over the world, and that is fantastic. I got you on Skype right now, man, and I'm loving it. And shout out to Skype for putting this technology together. And I know Zoom kind of ate their lunch at the beginning of last year, but I'm a Skype man. It fits good in my broadcast software. I'm going with Skype. But cool. Where do you go through the history, Plan 9 from outer space, and I mean, how far back do you go with B movies or movies in general? What is your catalog, or what's in your DVD collection? I guess nobody has DVDs anymore. What's in your digital collection? Let's go with Joe on this one.
Well, as far back, we actually did one that went back as far as 1938. Recently, a film called As the Earth Turns. So that's the oldest one that we've done.
What's that about? We've done
all. It's a silent film. It was a very interesting story because the director made it when he was 20 years old. It didn't come out, and then 80 years later, some family members of the director got with this guy Ed Hartman, who's also a composer and a producer, and they decided to put new music into it and re-release the film. So it's a very interesting film. Not to spoil like what happens, but it's kind of relevant to our modern times even.
It's amazing how much the story can be relatable to for years and years and years. Greek tragedies, things that are written 4,000, 5,000 years ago are still relevant today. People have been having the same struggles, the same troubles. Why are we fighting with each other? Am I going to get political right now? Why are we fighting with each other? Shouldn't we be getting along by now? It's been the same story since the beginning of man, since the beginning of time, that we've been struggling like this. And the story gets told over and over, whether it be in whatever kind of medium, whatever the next medium is. But right now it's in movies and music and, the films that you get involved in and you also review. And now some of the people that you've been reviewing, do you already said that you talked to the man, the guy who invented Troma himself, Lloyd, what was his last name?
Kaufman.
Lloyd Kaufman. I saw on your YouTube that you had talked to him, and I kind of saw the synopsis, but I'm going to listen to the whole thing. I listened to snippets of that, but amazing that you've gotten to touch greatness, because I can only say that he has achieved an amount of greatness on this level, okay? And if you can do this level over and over consistently, you can make a living at it. People that go, I want to be the star making $20 million, or you could be the character actor that doesn't quite make, maybe he makes $1 million, but he works all the time. She works all the time. I mean, you guys are both actors. Have you both acted in films in these short stories? I'm guessing with Independence. Lamar, have you acted?
I've been in the background. That's pretty much it. Joe, though, he has been an actor. And what was it? What was the name of it?
Identity.
Identity.
We
yes.
did a short film. I showed up on set to do audio, and they said, "Well, the actor couldn't make it today. Do you think you can play the dead boyfriend?" And I thought, yeah, I could lie on the ground and be the dead boyfriend. I didn't know there was lines, but yeah, I had to jump in there. It was very sad.
They said, Joe, you're pretty. Why don't you get in there? Put him in, coach. So what was that character like, and how could a dead guy have lines?
It was like a flashback scene. It was a futuristic thing, and this girl, and she was fighting against an artificial intelligence, and they were trying to merge together to become one mind or something. So she was looking back into her memories, and in her memories was me, apparently.
And you had to have some lines, man. You're like, yeah, I can do a dead guy. Oh, yeah, here's your sides. Here's your sides. Wait a minute. I'm a dead guy. I just have to fly there. Oh, no. But, hey, you got it. I mean, well, having lines in a movie, does that give you does that qualify you to be in SAG or anything like that? Are you a part of that?
Nah, it was just a little short film. I think it was more like a practice film, really, for them. So...
Well, that's cool in the gang, man. I must have been in a movie at some point. I don't know where, but I've done DJ work while they wwere filming stuff, and I must have been in the background on the turntables in South Beach somewhere, in Miami somewhere. But hey, I don't know what that movie was that they were filming as they walked by me. Nobody asked me to sign any release, but I guess. Yeah, but you, Joe, you're in a movie, man. That's gonna make you feel good, and people you can tell your friends, "Hey, watch this movie." There I am. That's me. That's me. Kevin Bacon, famously, he said in an interview that he took his girlfriend at the time to watch Animal House, and he told the girl, "Hey, I'm in this movie." And after the movie was over, she didn't realize what part. I didn't see you. But he was in this movie, a big part. I guess he looked different enough. I guess that's what actors do, is once they get out of a movie, they'll grow their hair, grow some facial hair, try to look totally different than they did in that movie to kind of differentiate themselves. But that's cool, man. That's cool. Joe, you're in a movie. So, Lamar, what kind of jobs have you had on movie sets, and what do you want to be when you grow up? What's the ultimate goal for a Lamar Clark Gaines, I guess did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, you did. Man, I've done production assistant stuff. I've done grip stuff. It's funny because like when we did What's the Matter, Skeeter Jones, they were just like, yeah, we need you to be a key grip, and I was like, I've never even had that job, but I made it work to the best of my ability. You know how it is with independent stuff. Really, I like doing video editing and motion graphics. Trying to just get better at that. And then if I can, just do either freelancing or maybe make Perfect Turd Podcast something where we can, make some money from it and just keep on doing it. So that's where I feel the most comfortable. And a little bit with production management, but more with the video editing, really.
Well, I mean, Lamar, just keep throwing it out there. Eventually, it'll make some money. From what I've been told, 3 years, you'll start making some money. Right now, it's about a penny a listen. If you put it on Anchor, it's about a penny a listen. Okay. And if a lot of people listen, hey, that's free money, man, whatever. But tell the people what a key grip is and what kind of editing software do you use. And yeah, I guess we'll start there.
For the key grip, they're basically over all the other grips for putting things together, such as lighting. Sometimes they'll do some things with, sometimes they work with camera, but it's mostly like lighting and then also working with the electricity that goes to lighting. I'm not a super key grip, so that's not my forte. Now with video editing, I use Premiere. I actually started with a program called Final Cut Pro. But I actually switched to Premiere for my first job at Remington because they did Final Cut Pro X, and we were like, nah, we're not doing that anymore. We just went to Premiere, and then I use After Effects, and then I also use Photoshop. So those are the three main programs that I use for my video editing and motion graphics.
Yeah, I'm an Adobe guy myself. I'm recording your audio part on Adobe Audition, which used to be Cool Edit back when I first started. And I have Adobe Premiere and Adobe Photoshop that I'll use to make a little image of the two of you for the cover of this podcast. So I'm familiar with Adobe. Now, at Final Cut, when I was at the Connecticut Schools of Broadcasting, there's a light brag. When I was back then, we used Final Cut and Pro Tools, which is the Apple version, correct? And then I'm guessing since you use Adobe Premiere, you switched over to PCs. You don't like the Apple format, really?
Oh, I still use Premiere on a Mac, but I will say this, even working on a Mac from my job and everything like that, I do like PC a little bit more because for the main reason is that it's cheaper. I mean, because Mac is great and everything like that, but like for a PC, you can get something just as powerful for dang near half the cost. So I'm kind of making that switch to PC. I work on a Mac now, but I'm making that switch to just a PC computer. Yeah.
Man, people got to know that this industry can get expensive. Your toys get expensive, and you may or may not get return on that investment. People go, how come you're so expensive, DJ? How come you charge so much? Well, if I make $100, 99 of that is going to go right back into buying equipment. If I can make that dollar stretch so I can get a meal and maybe a roof over my head. But no, I got to have the best speakers, the best microphones. You know, right now I'm using these Audio Technicas because I just moved. This is actually a brand new office, but you know, my SMB is stuck in storage right now, and I have the Rode podcast mixer because I wanted it to sound right. I got a ring light because I want my face to look the best it can look. You know, the equipment just for the podcast itself can get expensive. For DJing can get expensive. For movies, oh my gosh! You know, when I remember when I was in school, 2003, I think the Canon SL1 had just come out, a digital. And people were going, wow, for under $3,000, you can have this digital movie making. People were making movies on a lot less money. I mean, do you remember the SL1? I think they had an SL2 and further. But Joe, tell me about the equipment that's sitting behind your face right now. I got guitars, keyboards, stuff. Tell me about all that stuff.
Well, I have 15 or 16 guitars at this point, but I've been collecting guitars for a long time. You know, for composing music, nowadays it's all about having a good computer with good what they call sample libraries, which basically allows you to simulate the sound of an orchestra and all that stuff. So a lot of like you said, your money goes right back into getting the next big thing or whatever. When I used to work in a music store, the majority of my paycheck went right back into the music store. So just buying amps and guitars and whatnot. So yeah.
Joe's getting paid in gift cards. You got so many guitars, you had to hang them up on the wall behind you, man. There's so many. But so tell me about are you using Fruity Loops? I guess it's now FL Studio or
FL Studio. Yeah, I started off using FL when I first started with music. For years. So I still kind of use it, and I also use Cubase.
Cubase. I remember that came with that was a software that came with there was like a sample version of that, and I thought it was so amazing. This is back at the turn of the millennium, back in the future, the year 2000. Yeah. But no, Cubase was just coming out back then. Cool Edit was in there as well. But, man, tell me about Cubase, because I really didn't get a chance to use it too much. Is that samples?
It's just what they call a digital audio workstation. You could do all your music production inside of it. And what makes it great for film composers, it has a lot of tools that a film composer would need to allow you to synchronize your music with film and stuff. Where when I used to use FL Studio, which is it's actually great. And but it didn't have all of those features. So I just toggled that back and forth just to keep it fresh on my eyes, to look at something different every now and then, you know? But yeah, Cubase is great for film composing.
Well, for me, it was fun having Fruity Loops because it was all plug and play. You grab this hi-hat, you grab this guitar sample, this little riff. So okay, Robert Rodriguez, I love that guy. You know, cut, was it chopped, screwed, and cut? He does the whole film himself.
Yeah, he does everything.
It does it all. Where he showed you his garage, and I say garage loosely because he has one station here that has Final Cut, and then he'll turn his chair around and put his guitar into Pro Tools. I mean, is that something that between the two of you that you? I mean, I was just so amazed. You know, Spy Kids. What is it? Dead by Dawn. What's the vampire movie that Robert Rodriguez did?
Oh, Dusk Till Dawn.
Dusk Till Dawn. Yes. And could you imagine one person putting all this together? It takes a team usually. You know, you guys know this. Once the director comes up with a certain amount of film, it's the editor that really makes the movie. That's what I've always heard. What are your thoughts, Lamar?
I would say don't do it. I mean, because like you said, it takes a team, and it's really a collaboration of everybody. But Robert Rodriguez is a great director. I don't know how he does it. I mean, I remember just seeing El Mariachi and remembering what he went through to do that movie. But I would say, look, I know people are talented. They're multifaceted. But if you can, get somebody else to do the music, get somebody to do the production, be the director, but don't do it all yourself. He's talented, but I would not wish that on anybody, honestly. Like, that's crazy.
Well, that's really what you guys talk about on your Perfect Turd podcast is the people that have done it by themselves, that sometimes it doesn't work out. And then you have fodder for the podcast. I mean, what are the biggest losers that you could think of, Joe, that you had the most fun talking about? And you know, fond memories. Hey, that was a turd, but man, it was fun talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay. Well, the ones that were fun to talk about, like Thanksgiving was a great one to talk about. That was actually a very fun movie, even though it was so low budget and everything. So yeah, that was a good one. What else, Lamar?
Well, okay. One that I will say I enjoyed that was horrible was Transmorphers. I think we kind of came to the conclusion, if you want to do special effects, watch this movie on how not to do special effects. It was just bad. There were scenes where it would be raining with special effects, and then it would stop raining and then go back to raining after cuts. It was bad. It was just, wow. That was one. I will say one that was bad, and I will take responsibility. Navy SEALs versus Demons. That one was rough.
That was a rough. See, sometimes I don't mind it when they're bad, but they're so bad that they're fun. But some of them are just bad, and it's like, I wish this was over right now. And that was one of them.
Man, you almost had me. I remember, was it Clerks? And one of them was working at a video store in that movie, or was it? And he goes, "Ooh, Navy SEALs." So when you said Navy SEALs, I got excited. But no, it's not Navy SEALs. No,
yeah, Navy SEALs versus Demons. That was the title sounded good, and the box cover was pretty good.
This is where I would have sent my friend Orlando. Hey, go get us something like Navy SEALs, and he'd come back with Navy SEALs versus Demons. Oh, it's got more in the title. It must be better. It must be. No. But, okay, I already went through what Lamar wants to be when he grows up. Joe, it sounds like you're living the dream, man. You're already making music for movies and TV shows, and you were talking about the speed at which these things need to be the turnaround. Because, I'm thinking of shows like South Park that want to be with the times, say that the presidential inauguration was just happened. They would like to have a show that night, with music complete. And this is where you come in, that you have to have that turnaround. How quick did you have to turn around? Somebody call on the phone or email to finish? What's the fastest you've ever done something?
Definitely less than a day. So that's why, like, I'm up all night usually. I usually stay up all night and try to sleep in the early morning afternoons, because I know it's like the call will come in and I have to be ready to stay up all night and just get it done. So yeah, I would say like less than a day to finish this, something, or an advertisement is another place where the turnaround time is super quick. They just, something happened, something fell through, and now we need to replace it, and we need it like now. And it's like, oh, okay, wow. So yeah.
Well, you're giving people gems, man. You got to know. You got to know that you're working harder. If you work for somebody else, it's 9 to 5. It's 7 to 3. You punch in, you punch out. If you're working for yourself, you could be working 24 hours a day, 25 hours a day. You got to set your own schedule. You got to set some hours. Lamar, do you set a certain amount of time to devote to this, to the industry? As you see, you've already alluded that you have a day job, a 9 to 5, something that's giving you insurance, putting a roof over your head. Maybe they're not paying you everything you're worth, but it's a steady job. But what do you give yourself a certain amount of time to do this hobby of yours we call movies? No, do you set some time?
Yeah, I try to set some time. I mean, well, for the podcast, I definitely have to set some time aside. I mean, we're either definitely talking on Sunday about something that we watch, or we're either communicating with something that needs to be edited. One of the biggest things now that I'm doing is like trying to connect with people on Twitter, and I'm doing that throughout the day. So that's something that, I might be at work and then somebody responds to something, or I see something to share. I'm always hitting up Joe with like movies that people suggest to us. And we have like a new list of movies that people, say we got to watch and everything like that. I think, and then actually got a review for Psycho Ape through Twitter, because somebody was just asking for reviews. His name's Addison Bennett. Cool guy. He shouted us out, and we did a review for him, and he actually worked with Troma. So that was another way that Troma has supported us. So, I mean, I have this 8 to 4 job, but, throughout the day I'm doing Twitter, and then sometimes when I come home, I'm doing some editing, but definitely on Sunday, we're getting together and talking about a movie that we're reviewing. So. Oh,
you said it right, man. You have to have a social media presence out there. I'm an old guy. I'm turning 52 on Sunday. So, I do the big 4. I guess I got Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Those are my big 4 that I put out there to the world. And I guess, with Anchor, I put my podcast out there as well. And, man, you talk about that you talk on Sundays, and maybe you put your podcast out, once a week? Joe?
Yep, the next day on Monday.
Okay. Me, I'm a terrible podcaster because I just keep putting it out and putting it out and putting it out. When somebody calls, or if I schedule something, maybe I'll have 3, 4, 5, 6 podcasts a week, and I'll just keep throwing them out there. Bam, 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 bam. Some of them get hundreds of hits. Some of them get tens of hits. But hopefully, with the hits that they do get, and this is the YouTube hits, everybody can see what's out there. The Anchor, thankfully, that's been the audio version of this has been skyrocketing. I'm very excited about that, and this is over a year in the making. But man, you just keep putting it out there and putting it out there, and it's exciting, man. It's exciting to connect with people. And then once you've put out your Perfect Turd podcast, hey, we're a podcast about B movies, people are going to start getting excited about that. They're going to want to listen, and they're going to go, I wonder what these two guys take on this piece of crap is. I'm sorry, this Perfect Turd. I wonder what their take is on this. It's just going to keep rolling and rolling. Joe, I mean, you got a lot of things lined up in the works as far as the Perfect Turd podcast as we land this plane?
We do. We have a lot of great stuff planned for the Perfect Turd. We actually have coming up for next Monday. We went to a steampunk festival.
Yeah.
And we got to interview all kinds of people that are involved in steampunk. And, and then we're going to review a steampunk-themed movie called Mutant Chronicles. So we got that coming up. And we definitely have plans to do more interviews with directors and actors, people involved in B movies. So, yeah. And people send us movies.
Yeah, you already said you did.
Yeah, send them.
You didn't get dressed up, but I mean, you don't ever get dressed up. But did you get dressed up for the steampunk?
No.
No, we didn't. No.
You had to look so out of place. All these guys with their steamy thing, and the girls with their little top hats and their frilly dresses and corsets, and then here's a couple of guys just with a recorder. Hey, you want to say a few words for this? Come on, man, play the part. Be a part of the show.
It's Lamar. Lamar is always discouraging me from doing cool stuff like that.
Ooh, Lamar. You're not in the same room. He's calling you out. What are you doing?
And he is
wearing?
so right. And because I'm going to throw this out there, because I think I'm like, I won't say the dissenter, but I'm always against something in the group. Because another thing that I am against that Joe has brought into the fold is brokinis. And I don't know. It's kind of weird how we give them a shout out so much, and Joe thinks it's hilarious, and I think it's the craziest thing of all time. So I don't know. I think I have an angst against everything. I don't know why.
Well, that might be the thing that puts you over the edge, man. Lamar, you're the voice of reason. And Joe, you're the idea man. Just throw it out there. Keep putting those ideas out there. And Lamar is going to help you edit, help you smooth those out. I can see the dynamic here. I see what's going on. Maybe it's just me reading it very quickly. All right, Joe, give me your Instagram and Twitter. Do you have individual Instagrams and Twitters and social media that you want people to connect with you on? And then I know that there's, on broad strokes, the Perfect Turd Podcast has its own social presence. So do you want people to connect with you as individuals, add you on Facebook and Instagram and all that kind of thing?
I mean, if you want. I mean, on Instagram, I'm Joe Pignato /composer, and then Bandcamp Joe Pignato, you can find me on there. And then Lamar, what do you got?
Man, oh man, I'm basically just Lamar Cg on Facebook. I have an IG and a Twitter, but since I've moved to like just doing so much stuff on Twitter and then following Perfect Turd Podcast on Instagram, that's basically all I share it for. Even on my Facebook, I'm just sharing basically the Perfect Turd Podcast. So you can hit me up on Lamar Cg on Facebook.
Okay, maybe I'm not an old dude. Maybe I'm just a dude. I don't mess with Snapchat or what are the other ones? So many. Spreaker. I guess Spreaker is the I don't know. There's so many different different TikTok. That's the one that was eluding this mouth of mine. Are you guys on that?
Keep on elude. I see it. I hate everything. I think I hate everything for some reason. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know why. It's weird.
I like the Instagram because you hit something on Instagram, you could throw it on Twitter and Facebook at the same time. There you go. Yeah. And then YouTube is for my long form, like this video will be on YouTube probably tonight or tomorrow, and I'll send you the links, of course. But all right, as we wind this thing down, how do people connect with you, and what kind of inquiries do you want people to send you on the Perfect Turd Podcast? How do they connect? How do they find that Perfect Turd?
Well, YouTube.com/Perfect Turd Podcast. Facebook, same thing, Perfect Turd, @Perfect Turd Podcast. Instagram, @Perfect Turd Podcast. Website, perfectturd.com. So, pretty easy, yeah.
Yeah, we have a motif.
Yeah,
let us know. If you like a movie, let us know. If you want us to review it, if you've made a movie and you think we should review it, let us know, and maybe we will.
And branding, man. You actually have a website, perfectturd.com. Who built that website for you?
That guy.
I think it's the second time I built it. It might be a third because I keep on changing it. So you never know what's going to come out of there. But I think, me and Joe, we just have a dynamic. Because I will say this, Joe has gotten a lot of the interviews, really. And so he's been great with that. So just a shout out to you, Joe.
It's a team effort, man. It's a team effort.
It is.
All right. Yeah. And at this point, before we close it up, I want you to give shout outs to the people that have helped you along the way. Lamar, if there's people that have helped you to become who you are, the people in your life, could be your parents, could be people in your family. But if you want to give shout outs to certain people that need to be discussed right here on the What Makes You Famous podcast, Lamar, give some shout outs.
Oh, my dear old mother. No, but she's awesome. She has helped me so much. I'm so happy she actually lives here, not with me in Florida, but she came down from Indiana. We're in the same space. So my mother has always been my biggest inspiration. My dad, God rest his soul, he's always with me. And then really from the film group, definitely Joe, us working together has been cool. Katrina has been a big, help with us as well. I don't want to take up too much time, but the people that we, Twitter, that we've connected with and stuff like that, definitely Lloyd Kaufman for giving us that interview, Sam Furstenberg, but I could be here all day, but those are the people that really helped us out, and family and friends as well. So.
No,
Yeah.
take your time, man. I got nothing but time for this podcast. I love hearing stories. I love learning from people. Everybody can go to perfectturdpodcast.com and find out about the podcast, but I want to know about Lamar and Joe and Lamar, the people behind it. Why are they doing this? Why are you putting yourself through such horror, for the people? I mean, I know, hey, you can make a couple bucks as a podcaster, and a lot of times it's purely for like for me, it started out as wanting to hear the stories, but also to help promote my shows that come up every week. Comedians will start a podcast because they want to promote whatever shows they got. So, Joe, give me some shout outs for the people that in your life that have helped you along the way.
Wow. I mean, definitely my parents always supported my idea of being a musician. They never tried to discourage me, which is rare. Like, when you tell someone, I want to do music for a living, parents usually are like, yeah, no way. But yeah, they always encouraged it. And then, teachers along the way, Matt Baines, a guy that I took guitar lessons from for years, wouldn't have done it without him. But yeah, also Wilfredo Acheron is one of the reasons why we came together, me and Lamar. So that's
started
great.
The group.
Yeah, started the whole group, and just there's so many people, just friends and family, and co-workers, people that we've done stuff with. So yeah, for everyone knows who they are.
Oh, that's faithful. And now, Lamar, you said your mom lives in town. You're in your mom's basement, aren't you? You are, aren't you? Tell the truth.
Oh boy, if I was in my mother's basement, this would be completely clean and everything like that. She is a clean freak, so. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we probably couldn't live with each other, because she will come to my place and rearrange things. So
here's the thing, though. One of our most popular Instagram videos that we ever put out
is me making my
video
bed.
Of Lamar making his bed. So
very good.
Everyone loved that.
What does that mean, though? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
and that's like something we're not even talking about. That was weird.
Make your bed. It's just going to get dirty tonight. Well, why am I making it now? It's just going to get dirty again, But no, it's surprising what connects with people online. Some of these things, I'll put them out there, and wow, how did that get 1,000 hits? Okay, how'd that happen? All right, but all right. I always like to finish these things off with last words for the people. Now, I don't want this to be the last time that we chit-chat, because I want to keep up with you guys over the years. And I'm very thankful to Katrina Teodor of the Cos Marketing Agency for putting us together, because she's fantastic, man. I've had quite a few podcasts, not just with her, but some of the people that she works with, people that she considers clients. And every time I talk to her about anybody that she considers clients, she also considers them friends. So that's a certain kind of person that makes a friendship out of a client, and that's beautiful. That's nothing but beautiful. So since the billing is always Lamar and Joe, Lamar, I'm going to have you give some last words for the people, and then Joe, you'll give the last words for the people. This could be words to live by, stuff that you heard a long time ago, maybe a mantra that you wake up to, in that bed that's never made. It is made now. He actually cleaned up his room for us. No, so Lamar, or it could just be whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Lamar Clark Gaines, last words for the people.
I think, of course, definitely follow us with the Perfect Turd Podcast. But, if you are a creator, I would just tell anybody that it's more about the consistency. that you just keep on at it. You keep on getting better. You keep on networking. So I would say to anybody who's trying to, be a filmmaker or create any type of art, just be consistent. Like, just keep on doing it as much as you can. Try to do something every day. So that's my words of wisdom.
All right, Joe Pignato, last words for the people.
Well, I agree with Lamar, and I would say just on top of that, you only live once, so find the thing that you love to do and do that every day, no matter what. Even if you can make a living with it, that's cool, but just do it. And then that's it. Thanks for having us on your show.
Well, there you have it, party people. Lamar and Joe, the Perfect Turd Podcast. Find it on YouTube. I guess the easiest way to find it, because eventually they will spread out and do the audio version as well. But look up the perfectturd.com. I don't know how they got perfect turd, because I think that's been a saying. Oh, wow, look at that. It was a perfect turd. That's something gross that kids say, that boys in particular say. I must have said at some point that was a perfect turd. Well, they got perfectturd.com. It was available. They bought it. They own it. That's cool. That is cool as can be. And I guess, go check out Lamar and Joe on the Perfect Turd Podcast. Get to know more about them. And if there's any movies that you have seen that are, wow, that was a stinker. How did that movie get made? That was, why did I just watch that? Ooh, my eyes, they're burning after watching that. Well, I'm sure they'd like to hear about those films. So follow them on their social medias and tweet at them. And get into their DMs and let them know what you think about the Perfect Turd that you just watched, or give them feedback on the Perfect Turd Podcast. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lamar and Joe and Lamar, for being a part of the What Makes You Famous podcast. Let's do it again real soon. I want to hear more. I'm a fan now. I got you on my YouTube feed, and soon I'll have you on my audio feed as well. And we'll learn more about these B movies. All right, now, if I'm turning my attention to you, would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.